We are back in Wrath Mountains, but that is not where I intend for this video to take place. As you can see here, I have put on LFG. I am now discoverable. I took off Anonymous as well because the last time I put on LFG I realized I kept Anon on, so people could see I was LFG, but they couldn't tell what class or where I was or what level. So, I've decided I am just going to sit here, and I guess I'll solo skeletons in the meantime, but I'm going to just wait however long it takes to get a group. And wherever they ask me to go, I will go there. It could take a long time, but I will magically transition to wherever or whenever I get that group. And let's just see where fate takes me. Alright, well it turns out fate is taking me back to Mistmoore. I said I'd take whatever I could get, right? Gizlane just sent me a tell saying, hey, not sure how mobile you are, but we have a good Mistmoore pawn group that could use a healer. I was really hoping I could go to the graveyard. Maybe we will transition there, but we're going to start at the pond. So I'm just going to bank real quick in Neriak, and let's find out. Gizlane. Enchanter, okay, same level as me. Cool. Alright, we'll end up there, and I got a couple things to talk about. See you on the other side. Exciting news, it looks like this group, which I will talk about in a second, has decided to move to the graveyard, which is awesome, because then I can show a new area, and this is also how you get there. So the group has, it's not ideally constructed by any means. It has two bards. Both are, well, one is lower than me, one's higher than me. It has a ranger who's pretty much our main tank, an enchanter, and a wizard. And me, the cleric. So we couldn't find an actual tank, but we wanted to move up. So I guess we kind of collectively decided that, what the hell, another bard. And the bard's got good gear, this Strummers guy. So you go past the pond on the left. Ooh, is that a... okay. It's female dwarf with a beard. This is all I'm filming in real time here, so this is exciting, to say the least. Oh, see, this one's red. Those are always a little spicy. Wow. So this ranger is 27, so he's a level higher than me. But boy, these things tend to tear through him, especially when they're higher than, well, yellow or red to me. But, and it's kind of risky because that's kind of what's going to compose most of the graveyard. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like this bard might actually be a better tank. Woohoo, we did it. And what fruit does it bear? Nice. Ooh, a corpse. And of course, the enchanter is charming. I don't mean that in the personality sense, although she's lovely. But she has a pet, which frequently attacks her. Well, was she? She's the one that invited me, all the way from Wrath Mountains. I think the ranger is somewhere other than where we are. Root that. Hopefully the enchanter will mez if need be. It's a little chaotic. I kind of wanted that mage that's LFG there, but that was before the other bard came around. I mean, we'd rather have like a Shadow Knight or a Paladin, but there just aren't any. There was actually one earlier when I was in Wrath Mountains. I found two that were LFG at the same time. The kind of story of P99 is that tanks are rare. A glyph for bitter. Wow. And of course I've got my group health bar right in the middle here. Nice and convenient. So I can see when people are getting hurt. Because that's my job. Yeah, that one is red. A glyph for bitter. Wow. And root just... So this one never got missed. Okay, that's nice. I say that somewhat sarcastically. Maybe letting the group know will help. These groups can be chaotic. So yeah, Tanks are a little hard to come by in this level range especially. The higher up you get, the better it gets. But typically tanks in this level range kind of have the pick of the, what's the phrase I'm looking for? They can pick whatever they want, basically. Because they can get invites to all over the place because they're rarer. I guess it's kind of a supply and demand thing. Ooh, here we go, another glyph. And of course we have this wonderful graveyard, which is full of cool lore stuff. And it's the name of the camp. Another red one. XP should be good here. I mean, look where I'm already at. I did get some more in Wrath Mountains. Alright, after this, I will do a little peekabooing here. So the Cleric's Dilemma, you're always kind of waiting, like, okay, and this is sort of prior to Complete Heal and always having warrior tanks, but right now I'm like, okay, this Warjack guy, the Ranger. Should I use my second heal on him, or should I wait until he gets hurt enough that I can use my first heal? Right now I'm leaning toward second heal, because he's not even tanking anymore. And I might as well do the same on the Bard. Of course, the closer this thing gets to death, which it's already, yeah, it's almost there. It's going to start running soon, I suspect. That's the pet. They've got their heal songs up, because we got 2 bards. Ooh, what's this? Oh, vegetables. Heck yeah. Getting some leather stuff. None of it, it's actually, rawhide. Rawhide, yeah. Oh, hello. All the way from outside the gate. And here I have that dilemma again. Now, I can tell you one thing, the wizard should absolutely not be tanking. The wizard that's blue to me. So let's just check out, I know that there's been a lot of lore videos done on this section. Tiffany was a good woman and a great whistler. Nate, he was a good warrior, but learned the hard way that drinking and sword fighting don't mix. Did they get the apostrophe and don't? They didn't. That's okay. And of course, this is with the upgraded graphics. I know they don't want me over here. Nate, wow, same two? Come on. They could have done different ones. All right. Well, so generally this is the camp. So you come inside this gate, then you have this little temple, and you've got these graves on the way. Now, those graves down there might say something different. And then there's an area behind the little temple, and inside the temple there is a coffin. I'm not going to go do all that right now because it's a little risky. There's could be spawns in there. But this is generally the camp. You kind of just sit here. And this will probably be my view because most of what we kill will be right here. And here we go. Better XP, black silk gloves. Wow. I got to check those out just to see. Probably a quest item. They might be usable. Clerics cannot use it. I don't need the dex. Interesting. Black silk gloves. All right. Cool. I'll sit here, gain some XP, and when I'm ready to talk about today's discussion topic, I shall return. Before I ding, of course. All right. So while I heal my party through these vampire fights, I want to talk about something. Now, bear with me, because I promise it's going to relate back to EverQuest. So recently I watched the 2 Sonic the Hedgehog movies. And yes, if you didn't know, they made 2 of them. So the first one came out in 2020, and the second one came out this year. Now, you might have heard some of the controversy when the first one, the trailer came out, or maybe it was just still images. People thought the Sonic the Hedgehog looked really creepy. So the studio, I don't even know who made these, but studio, there was so much uproar, they agreed to go in and change the way Sonic looked. It was an improvement. Overall, as someone who considers himself a Sonic fan, I found these movies to be pretty disappointing. Now you might say, oh, shocker, a video game movie sucks? Who could have seen that coming? But I will say that the question I kept asking myself was, who is the audience for these movies? Like, kids these days, I don't think they know who Sonic the Hedgehog is. I mean, they might have heard of him, but they don't know who he is like I did when I was a kid. I mean, early to mid 90s, those were 3 of my favorite games. 4 if you count Sonic and Knuckles. I love those games. And I love the story of those games. And I had hoped that this movie would be like the story of those games. It was not. I mean, very, very loosely. Now, before I rag on this thing, I will say, one highlight for me was Jim Carrey's performance. I am not even a Jim Carrey fan, I find his physical comedy stuff to be a bit over the top over the years, but I think he did a really good job as Dr. Robotnik. I still think Dr. Robotnik should be a short, fat guy, not a tall, skinny guy, but hey, that's okay. Not an exact recreation. I'm just going to lump these two movies together for the sake of convenience. I thought he did a particularly good job in the second movie, in the first part, when he's in this, like, Mushroom Kingdom, but I really think that the movie did a terrible job of just sticking to the story of Sonic the Hedgehog. So, for example, the movie, for some reason, involves a human character as the main character above even Sonic. I mean, that's how it felt to me. I don't think we needed that. I don't think we needed a human character. I guess they did it because it's relatable, but again, if this is a kid's movie, all you gotta do is tell a kid, hey, this movie has talking animals, and the kid is like, done, I want to watch it. They don't even need to know who Sonic the Hedgehog is. They're just like, sweet, talking animals. And I would recommend it as a kid's movie. I will say, it was enjoyable for kids. It just wasn't that enjoyable for Sonic fans like myself, who grew up playing the game. So the movie, it has this main character who is a police officer in Montana, and his dream is to become a police officer in San Francisco. I swear I'm not making this up. If you haven't seen these movies, you might be like, is this, are you making this up? Are you shitting me right now? I am not shitting you. This is the plot of the movie. And Sonic bumbles into the story. Now, the other thing that pissed me off is, if you remember Sonic like I do, Zone 1, Level 1, Green Hill Zone, right? First game. They're trying to tell me in this movie that Green Hill Zone is a place in Montana. It's not some mythical place, it's in Montana. I got nothing against Montana, but that is not where the first level of Sonic was set. Okay? That is some BS. There is no place in Montana. First of all, I looked it up. There is no Green Hill, a town called Green Hill in Montana. There is no place in Montana where you've got bridges that collapse when you run over them and little loopy things that Sonic runs through when he's all fast. Come on. Green Hill, Montana, get out of here. And, you know, chaos ensues on this crazy road trip that Sonic takes with the cop. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. Sonic goes to San Francisco with this cop, and it's just silly. And what I really didn't like is the way that they portrayed Knuckles in the second movie. He's not in the first movie. So my recollection of Knuckles from the third Sonic game and the fourth Sonic game, if you consider Sonic and Knuckles to be the fourth Sonic game, I mean, it was a game, but it almost felt like an expansion pack. It's like, hey, go back through Sonic 3, play through all the same levels, but this time as Knuckles. It was kind of like that. And I remember Knuckles being this jokestery, kind of brash, punk, kid, teenager kind of guy. I mean, it's an animal, but, you know, it has those characteristics. And that is not how he's portrayed at all in the movie. I just remember scenes in the game, and spoiler alert, if you haven't played Sonic the Hedgehog 3 by now, you might want to get around to doing that, because it's a great game. I do recommend it. But he's basically sabotaging Sonic in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I remember him, like, Sonic's plane is flying or whatever, and he crashes it and he laughs. And he's just like this funny character that is working with Dr. Robotnik to sabotage Sonic, but ends up finding out that Dr. Robotnik is actually just using him, and they do a good job portraying that in the movie, I will say. And then he ends up teaming up with Sonic to fight Dr. Robotnik. Okay, fine, whatever. But in the movie, he's portrayed as this super serious guy who's this warrior from this ancient tribe, and he has no sense of humor at all. That is not Knuckles. Why screw with that character? The only reason I could think of is because the character that Knuckles was in the game is kind of how they made Sonic act in the movie. Now, I'm not even going to talk about Tails, but in the game, I felt like Sonic was kind of this smarter, I mean, still kind of a kid, kind of punk, but smarter and wiser, and Knuckles was like this brash, I don't know, like fighter kid that just grew up on the wrong side of the block, kind of mischievous. And I just feel like the roles were almost reversed, except Sonic wouldn't be as serious as they made Knuckles in this movie. It just really annoyed me. I think they could have done a much better job with the movie. And I don't regret watching them. It wasn't that bad, but man, it just left me wanting more. And it left me thinking, what would I have done differently if I were doing the Sonic the Hedgehog movies? For one thing, I wouldn't include any human characters. I don't think that's needed. I guess that's a relatability thing. I just, like, whatever. We don't need humans that are police officers running around in the Sonic the Hedgehog world. Now, this got me to thinking, they always screw up video game movies, right? Like, remember the Mario movie? That was awful. I know they're going to do another one soon here, but... And vice versa. Like, video games based off of movies, other than GoldenEye, those were always considered to be terrible. So it goes both ways. But here's where we tie into EverQuest. Do you remember the leaked story of an EverQuest movie coming out? I want to say I heard this for the first time around 2001. Now, it could have been 2000. EverQuest, I would say, peaked in popularity between 2000 and 2003, somewhere in there. Pre-World of Warcraft, post-Ultima Online, I guess that still existed, but that was kind of, if you were going to make an EverQuest movie, you want to capitalize on that time period where it's at its most popular. Well, like a lot of movies, it just got shelved and it never happened. And then in 2007, there was all this hype about, wait a minute, the EverQuest movie might still be happening. It's back on. They had this producer come on, this guy named Avi Arad. I don't know who that is. And they hired Michael Gordon, who is best known for the script from the movie 300, which you probably remember. That was going to be the writer. So they had a writer and a producer, and yet the movie never happened. And then there was more buzz in 2012, a decade ago now, that, hey, this movie might not be dead yet. It might be coming back. It's just like, what? This is not totally abnormal for Hollywood. In fact, people who follow the industry will tell you so much stuff gets greenlit, and it gets a little bit of funding for some writing, and it gets, you know, a producer hops on board, and then it just never happens. All this stuff that happens pre-production will typically happen on a lot of movies that don't even end up getting made. So that's just the industry. Chalk it up to that. But the question that I had since day one when I first heard about this movie idea for EverQuest is, what would the story be about? It kind of goes back to the whole Sonic the Hedgehog problem. Would an EverQuest movie be about a particular piece of the timeline? Because to me, the game had some great lore. Obviously, if you know my channel, you know I love the lore of EverQuest. But you can't make 1 2-hour movie that just crams in all the lore, the entire timeline. That would be awful. Everything would have to move super fast. And you need some sort of main character. Who would they have picked as the main character? I don't know, maybe the girl that's on the cover of the box, Virion of I, that's probably what they would have done. I mean, I was reading this one, I did a bunch of research for this. I was reading this one IGN article where they're talking about casting Scarlett Johansson as Virion of I. mean, get out of here. That's not a good... the Furion of I thing, it was like... She was like the mascot to me, more than the main character. I mean, what would the story have been? Like, a bunch of random characters get together and save Furion of I after she's been kidnapped by Ixars and trolls and ogres and wood elves all team up to rescue her? Come on. If you ask me, here's what I would have done. First of all, and this was not in vogue at the time, this is a series. This is not a movie. You try to make 1 2-hour movie, it's going to be awful. You need to do a series. Like, that's the big thing that's been happening since like the mid-2000s. Like the golden age of TV, they call it. A series is way better for this kind of thing. And each episode of the series, or maybe each season of the series, covers one piece of the timeline. So you have one season where you're doing the dragons in Norath. You could do it time-lapse, or you could hop around. You've got the dragons and how Vishen first brought them to Norath and all that kind of stuff. Another season could be the Shisar try to take over the gods, and this is what happens to them. And then another season, oh, here's Ralosek using his creations to start a war with the other gods. All that kind of stuff. Sol Ro against the elves and Tunaria, formerly soon to be Antonica. All that stuff would be awesome, but you can't cram it into a movie, and that is exactly what they would have done in 2002 or whatever if this thing got greenlit. I can't even imagine what they would have done in 2007 or 12, because at that point the game was pretty much dead. I know some people were still playing it, but it was over. World of Warcraft had completely won that fight. It was done. Not to say that you can't use an old intellectual property to make a movie about. I mean, Lord of the Rings, right? But EverQuest was never as heralded as Lord of the Rings. So yeah, they probably would have screwed it up. At this point, it's probably not going to happen, and maybe that probably is a good thing. Okay, I'll just say it, especially after watching those 2 Sonic the Hedgehog movies. The one thing I think about, though, is there was recently a Halo series released on Paramount Plus streaming service, which I actually have, by the way. I haven't seen the Halo series. I've heard it's actually pretty good. Not only have I not seen the Halo series, but I haven't even played the game. Now, if it's done right, you shouldn't need... I never played the Halo games. If it's done right, you shouldn't need to play the games to understand the story by watching the series, right? Okay. But if it's good, like they say it is, then it's possible to make a good movie out of a video game. If anyone has seen the Paramount Plus series on Halo, let me know, because I'm down to watch it. If people are saying it's good, I'll watch it. And if there's any other movies that I didn't talk about that were actually good, I mean, I know they made all these Max Payne, and I've heard rumors about a God of War movie. Who knows? I don't... That might have actually happened, and I just didn't follow it. I never watched any of the Final Fantasy movies, the Pikachu detective movie, like whatever, all that stuff. I never watched. If there are any good video game movies, let me know, because I'm curious. Because it's all I've been thinking about since I saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I was like, man, what would an EverQuest movie be? And if they ever do a series, which I suggested, I mean, they should hire me, right? Because I know what I'm doing here. I can make a good storyline. Come on. All right, we're back, and I think we're pretty close to the end of the level here. Just toss a heal out. So one of the things I'm finding in this group that keeps happening is it hasn't even been that long since we got here. Oh, the wizard randomly left the group? Is that on purpose? Can't imagine it was. Didn't say anything. Interesting. Been a lot of red mobs here, so the XP has been really good. In fact, I think I might ding on the next mob. So the enchanter gets aggro quite a bit, which is understandable, and sometimes it's her own pet breaking, that happens all the time. And then the wizard, who apparently just left the group, could be LD. He was also getting aggro. So, okay. Sometimes I'll wait for the bard or the ranger, who are our tanks in this case, to get a little bit lower before I bother healing them, because I know they can take more of a beating. Whereas when the enchanter starts to get hit, like right now she's 95%. If I start seeing her get to about one bubble down, I start to cast heal right away, because they can take less of a beating. And so it's more important to heal them quickly than the bard or the ranger, who has longer before they die, theoretically. Unless they're getting absolutely pummeled. Let me update them on my mana, 50 mana. Now, when the wizard and the enchanter's health both start going down at the same time, pretty much at the same rate, because they're both intelligence casters, so one probably can't take much more of a beating than the other. I mean, level can play a part a little bit, but I healed the enchanter, and that's not a controversial decision at all. One of them actively affects the outcome of our group. The other one, for reasons that potentially were covered under a previous Sage Freke story time, the other doesn't contribute quite as much. And I don't mean to say that in a belittling way. It's just the way the class structure breaks down. You know, there's the hierarchy of needs. You've got your cleric, warrior, enchanter. That's kind of your holy trinity. And everything from there is kind of gravy, including, for sure, wizards. Should I offer a soap potion? Wait a second. Oh, he's a ranger. He can't sew yet. Okay. Now, the other funny thing about all this... Oh, so this is another thing I've been doing. I've been stunning the pet whenever its mez breaks, and then I can toss a heal as well, because she got down to about that level I was talking about. So I was expecting, based on the class structure in this group, we have 2 bards and a ranger, that we would have bad XP. Now, I don't know if we're at the point yet on the P99 server, the point in the VLAS expansion where they got rid of the class penalties. I don't think we are. We might be. And it could just be because the things are red, and I think the XP bump in this zone is the Zem. I think it's actually negative, or it breaks even. Oh, it's definitely time to heal Strummers. Strummers! Keep strumming. This is why it's kind of dangerous to do this and talk at the same time. That's why I do a lot of after-the-fact footage. So, the other thing is monks and... what was the other class? Well, bards aren't strictly hybrids, but they get the hybrid penalty. Shadow Knights, Paladins, Rangers, those are traditional hybrids. They come with a penalty. Monks come with the penalty as well. I don't really understand why. I guess because they're considered kind of overpowered. Even when the developers were making this game, they kind of acknowledged that. And then the bards also get one. I want to say the bard one is higher The Bard one is at the same level as Rangers, Paladins, and Shadow Knights. And the Monk one is a little bit lower. Either way you slice it, we've been getting really good XP, which surprises me a little bit. And I did do... I'm a Wasted Rock Ranger. I live a life of danger. Wow. That's the guy in my group just randomly out of character that? In all caps? Interesting. Okay, I guess now I'm about 1 kill away. I mean, that looks like a maxed out XP bar if I've ever seen one. And truth to what I was saying earlier, the Bard has, this Bard, Strummers, has ended up tanking a bit more than the Ranger, which is probably a good thing because he's got plate armor. He's got, looks like Crustacean and Singing Steel. Is that Singing Steel? Get a little closer here. Crustacean Silk Breastplate. Imbued. Oh, he's got the cultural armor. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Yeah, this guy should definitely be tanking. I should have expected him earlier. These are the rings I really want because I feel like I need hit points badly. I was also looking at some of those cleric quests. And I can't really do any of them yet. I guess I could start them. Some of them yield some pretty crappy armor, though. Oh, wow. They just replaced the wizard and brought the ranger. Or druid. Or mage. Third time got it right. So, and I hate this little graphic bug that's been going on with these graves. I don't understand it. I guess we're inviting the mage. I mean, I'd rather have a mage than a wizard, but maybe I'm a little biased. This broke again. Help her out a little bit. Kind of don't want to toss her a heal because I don't think it's really necessary. She is tashing it each time charm breaks, which is understandable. So, next level. There he is, the mage. Guess I should give him a buff. He's got some good gear too. Next level, I'm very excited because I'm going to do something that I think will be interesting and exciting and potentially a little bit dangerous. All right, we got 2 here. This should definitely ding us. And the Enchanter, I guess I'll toss her a heal just in case. It's tough with all these Bard songs going on to get an accurate number, but I think it's 623,501 for my hit points and AC, so we'll see how that goes up. Toss Strummers a quick small heal. Yeah, I don't want to spoil what I'm going to try to do next level, but I'm very excited. I think 27 is the right time to try it. There it is, level 21. Woo-hoo. Should I tell my group? Get them all excited. They'll be like, oh my gosh, congrats. Oh! That's so funny. Me and the Enchanter just dinged 27 at the exact same time. What are the odds? Okay. That's great. All right, I'll stay here a little bit longer. But yeah, remember, next level. I'm very excited. I'm going to try something. In fact, I might try 2 things. I might make it kind of a different type of video. I mean, I'll still show when I ding and everything, but there's 2 things that are on my agenda that I think I'm finally ready for. So stick around, stay tuned, and feel free to subscribe if you want to, because I'm also planning something special for when I hit 1,000 subscribers. But as of this video recording, I'm at about 7:30, so I'm still kind of far away to start talking about that, but I do have something special planned. So stay tuned. See you next time.